Good evening, ladies. It's Monday again. How did that happen? I think I say that every week, hey? It gets a bit boring. Alrighty, it's Monday. Hope you've all had a great day, and it's Lynsey here. So for those of you that are maybe new to my group, welcome. I'm Lynsey Vinen. I'm an integrative health practitioner, and I help women understand the root cause of their perimenopausal or menopausal symptoms by using lab testing. So we test, we don't guess around here. So today we are talking about balancing stress in life when we're dealing with our changing hormones. Oh my goodness. Hey Janelle, hey Colette, how you going? I was a little bit late jumping on today because it's school holidays, right? And kids have to be here, there and everywhere at their important play dates. So I've been running around picking up children, dropping them off, and yeah, so I was texting Janelle like, I'm gonna be late, but you guys didn't know that, right? I didn't have to tell you that. Alrighty, so yes, stress. Okay, let's get into this, right? So really, we need to understand stress. Okay, so understanding stress to effectively, obviously, just manage stress. So it's crucial to understand where your stress is coming from and how it's impacting your life, okay, and your body, all right, because it really does impact our systems more than you think. And, you know, stress is meant to be a finite occurrence that both has a beginning and an end. So, you know, you get the fright, you get the stress response, and then you recover. Whereas these days, unfortunately, our daily stresses have been compounded in this technological age. Like, it's killing us. It really is. You know, it's just limitless stimulation 24/7 from when you wake up to when you go to bed. If you think about, you know, like my stimulation right now, I've got a computer screen, I've got a ring light, I've got my phone, I've got a monitor. Like, it's all just like full on, and you know, there's no getting away from it because it's just becoming, there's just more of it. So, you know, that has really changed, I think, especially stress response for us. You know, and our activities and our work and our family obligations, you know, I just feel like we're on a proverbial hamster wheel, and there's no finish line in sight. Does anyone agree with me? Put your thumbs up if that's something, you know, that you can relate to, because sometimes it just doesn't feel like it's ever going to stop. You're like, oh my God, how do I get off this hamster wheel? So yeah, so let's have a look at those, you know, sort of the stresses on our body. So there's three main stresses. Okay, so if anyone wants to have a guess at what they are, put them in the comments for me. I can see you jumping on, guys. How are you? I'm just going to look at my screen here. Hey Mel, how are you today? If you ladies are jumping on now, or you're jumping on and watching the replay, put hashtag replay so that I can follow on when you when this is finished, and we can answer any questions that you may have. That would be amazing. So yeah, there's three main stresses, okay, on the body. So the first one is your work. Well, it's sort of like 3 in 1, okay? So it's like your work, your life, emotional stress. Okay, so we're dealing with fear, we're dealing with overwhelm, we're dealing with anxiety, we're dealing with things like depression. That all comes under that sort of, you know, that number 1. Number 2 is GI stress, so gastrointestinal stress, okay? Parasites, SIBO, emotional stress on the body as well, that like comes up again. Bacteria, all of those things are a massive stress on our body. They cause inflammation. They affect our brain. So that is another stress. And the third one is viruses. Okay, so we've all had, you know, seen what happened with the C word. And then you've got things like herpes, and you've got EBV, so Epstein-Barr virus, Epstein-Barr, that's why I say EBV. Okay, you know what I mean. And Candida. Okay, so they all have a massive stress on our system. So good stress we need, okay? We need an element of stress, and some people really thrive on that. I like a little bit of stress. It sort of like keeps me going, and it's essential for survival in some situations, especially if you've got a bear chasing you, for instance, okay? So we need that to kick in, alrighty? We need that adrenaline, we need that cortisol, And, you know, some people thrive on that, but there's a point that we have to have that cut off where it comes back down again. Okay, we don't want it elevated for a long period of time. So, you know, stress keeps us active. It keeps us decisive. And, you know, I think some people love that excited, thrill, danger feel. You know, people who chase, you know, storms and go off bungee jumping and all these, you know, adrenaline junkies. They like that feeling, okay? But that feeling of continued, you know, stress on the body takes its toll, and that's when we can end up with dis-ease. So, you know, we need to know when to stop, and when to switch that, you know, turn that switch off and be able to calm that nervous system down and come back to a calm state. So our action hormones, which I've sort of just touched on there, which is our cortisol, our adrenaline, our noradrenaline, you know, are released so that we're ready to rock, okay? And they act fast. So that's the sympathetic nervous system. It's on overdrive, prompting us to freeze or flee or fight, okay? So that's what that is designed for. So you can imagine, you know, back in the day when, you know, we were out hunting for our food, they needed that, okay? Whereas today, we're just constantly living in that state, which is so bad for our systems. And people aren't coming out of that state, hence why we get cancers. All of those awful things that happen is that breakdown of our cells, because they're constantly under that freeze-flight situation. Flee, freeze, fight situation. But examples where this is warranted is, you know, when you might freeze if you came across a snake, or you're fleeing from a fire, okay? That's when we need that to kick in. And then the other part of our nervous system, which is called the parasympathetic nervous system, this might give you symptoms of things like butterflies in your tummy, you know, when things happen, or loss of appetite, or abdominal cramps, or diarrhea. That's what that side of the system does. And, you know, if you have experienced any of this, you'll understand what that actually feels like. But, you know, without these reactions, we'd be like passive little lambs. And, you know, but there's a price to pay for this nervous system surge, which we are getting all the time at the moment, which again is just, it's not good for us. So cortisol, which we call the stress hormone because it's secreted in higher levels during the body's stress response, it keeps us alive. Basically, okay, it's so important. It's released from the adrenal glands, which they just sit above your kidneys. So it's released in the morning to help you wake up, and it keeps us alert during the day, and it helps us manage dangers and threats that come our way. Okay, so it's really, really important. And the stress hormones are released to, you know, raise your blood pressure, pump sugar into the blood so that your muscles and cells have energy to run or fight. And it also suppresses other systems to conserve energy as well, which is obviously really important. So, you know, why is this sort of problematic? And, you know, what can we do? What can we put in place to help ourselves? So, as I said before, firstly, it's designed to be temporary. Okay, it's not meant to be something, a state that we stay in. Okay, so once you escape the bear, you could rest in your cave and recover. Today we can't escape. Our modern day stresses, there's no rest, there's no recovery, and it is unrelenting. Okay, so you need to learn strategies to deal with it. Okay, if you're feeling, you know, these, if you're feeling stress and you're getting things like your palpitations and you've got brain fog and you get the, you know, the butterflies in your tummy, or you're getting diarrhea, because of these symptoms, then you've got to learn how to reduce those symptoms and your stress load as well. So what happens is, you know, all the sugar that's mobilized, that's released for energy to fight or run, it's not being used up, okay, unless you're doing exercise after every time you eat or after each meal. So what happens there, it gets stored as fat, and it's usually around the middle. And this is where I see a lot of my clients come to me and they're like, Lynsey, I'm really struggling with this weight. I can't move it. I haven't been able to budge it. And so guys, this is where it's so important. I say guys, ladies, It's so important that we look at your, your stress and what's going on there, but also your sleep, okay? Because they're so interlinked. Well, everything is, but stress and sleep, that's where you need that cortisol and melatonin. And if you're not getting good sleep and you're stressed, then your body's going to be in a state of flux, which generally it puts the brakes on and says, right, I'm just going to slow myself down, or it's going to slow right down. And that's when we start gaining the weight. Okay. So really cortisol has a priority over everything. When you're in danger, all your reserves are diverted to a survival mechanism, which means you have no energy for digestive processes. So absorbing vital nutrients, keeping toxins out, immunity, so fighting infection. Your sex hormones then are obviously take a hit as well. So things like reproduction, your monthly cycle, your sex drive, so libido, even bone health, okay? And then thyroid function as well. So thyroid hormones ensure that every cell has the energy it needs to function. So if your thyroid's on the go slow as well, and then your adrenals are being hit as well, our body's just like slow, that nothing is actually then, you've got insufficient thyroid, insufficient adrenals, and your body's just slowing right down and not producing the hormones it needs to produce to do what it needs to do. Alrighty, so, a lot of these stresses, what happens is they change our thoughts, they change our emotions, they change our mood, they change our ability to problem solve. Your motivation and your energy goes down, changes behavior. Like, it's just a whole health experience, okay? And this, I'm talking about stress, okay? I'm not talking about anything else. I'm just simply talking about stress. So, we become almost perpetual machines, convinced that doing is more valuable than being. Like, just think that through. Convinced that doing is more valuable than being. Like, ladies, you have to look after yourself. If you don't look after yourself now, you're going to put yourself in an early grave. Seriously. People are being diagnosed with coronary heart disease, with diabetes, all of these things which are lifestyle related. They are lifestyle related. You can change that. Same with stress, okay? There's something you can do about it. And I'm going to help you with that right now. All right. So I'm not going to go through checklists and things like that, but let's have a look at recognizing signs and symptoms, so that we can take proactive steps towards finding, harmony and helping our bodies. So here's some, here's a list of things that stress, obviously affects. So we've got autoimmune at the top of the list. All autoimmune diseases start with gut health and they're linked to stress. Confusion, depression, diabetes, fatigue, heart disease, irritable bowel syndrome, loss of libido, migraines, pain, panic attacks, premature aging, relationship issues, memory loss, and teeth grinding. That was my list that I wrote last night, and I was like, holy doolies. There's mostly more, but from what I see with my clients, those are the typical things that I see which are related to stress. Okay, so what can we do? What can we do about it? Hey guys, how are we going? There's a few people jumping on there. Whoops, I just lost you. There we go. So prioritizing self-care is massive, okay? You have to start looking after yourself. You need to take control of your health, ladies, okay? Don't wait for someone else to do it, because it ain't gonna happen, okay? So it's not a luxury. It is necessary that you take control of your health right now, okay? Prioritize yourself. Don't worry about the others. You need to go and sort yourself out, okay? You need to put you first. As a mum, we're always putting everyone else first. Then we get sick and then we get run down and things happen. We need to put ourselves first, okay? So that's the first thing. We need to set some boundaries as well. Alrighty, so drawing clear boundaries is vital in maintaining a healthy work-life balance. Look at how you're managing your time. Look at setting some realistic goals. Say no. That was a big one for me. Like, I would say yes to everything. Now I'm just like, nah, I'm out. I'm not doing that. Or, you know, no thank you. I haven't got time for that. And I'll happily say no. So, you know, that way you can preserve your energy as well, and you can focus on what really matters. Alrighty, especially if you're run down or you're not well. Creating realistic expectations for yourself, okay? So that's really important. You know, focusing on what truly matters, and give yourself permission to let go of perfectionism. Yeah? Putting everything in your diary, including your me time. Like, if you saw my Google calendar, I have everything in there, from getting up in the morning to training, to putting stuff into my spreadsheets, to, you know, all my clients. Everything is in there. And then that's how you manage your day. That's how you manage your time. And it may look full, but you'll feel really accomplished at the end of the day that you've done all that stuff. And the stuff you don't do, you just move it over to the next day. And the next day, and the next day. And sometimes that might go on for a couple of weeks, right? But eventually it will all happen, okay? It will all fall into place. And this is like what we call habit stacking. So you start putting all your habits in place. Alrighty. And for those of you with, you know, babies and little ones, you know, I think a big thing that I didn't do when Tilly was younger was I didn't take naps when she took naps. And you might go, oh my God, that's impossible. But sometimes I think you just have to go and give yourself even, you know, to sit down in a chair, put a meditation on, or just listen to some binaural beats, or do some tapping, and just check out for 10-15 minutes and give your body that time to just come down and rest that nervous system, or bring that nervous system down, bring that cortisol down. So important. Alrighty, we need to also celebrate some success as well. So if things happen, make sure you celebrate them, even if they're really small. Like, let's start celebrating us as women. We're more powerful than we believe that we are. Okay, so reducing your stresses, ladies. So I think firstly, you need to identify your stressor and what's causing you the stress. So whether it be, you know, the emotional, whether it be family, whether it be work, whether it be financial, whether it be you've got parasites and bacteria, and that's causing a lot of stress on your body and inflammation, you know, those types of things. So finding that first, putting a plan in place then to reduce and eliminate, you know, reduce the inflammation, get rid of the parasites, get rid of the, you know, the things that are causing the stress. And then also things like, you know, if you have to work on relationships and stuff like that. And financial, there's, you know, money mindset, there's lots of stuff out there that you can do for that. But obviously you need expert help on that. Practicing saying no to people. I think that, you know, just going back to that, that's just a big one. It's a massive one for me, especially as mums. I think we're always thinking about, you know, trying to help other people, but sometimes you've got to start with you first before you can actually give. And we know when we've got children and we've got families that, you know, you do everything, and we do a lot. And we have to put ourselves first. So, you know, take care of you, ladies. Self-care is really high on my list. Supporting your adrenals, okay? So our poor adrenals take a massive hit when we're stressed. So trying to switch off more, so to counteract that fight or flight response is so important, and switching on that parasympathetic nervous system, so that rest and relax mode. So you need to slow right down. You need to do some deep belly breathing, meditation, yoga and Pilates is great too, or just get out in nature and just go for a walk or ground yourself, you know, in the garden, shoes off, whatever you like doing. Go and smell the roses. I don't know. Maybe grow some carrots. Sleep. You need good quality sleep. We need to get off this tech by 8 o'clock every night. Otherwise, all this blue stuff that comes off of these screens, these EMFs, it stops the melatonin being produced. So that's why so many of us are bloody not sleeping properly, and we don't get to sleep, or we go to sleep but then we wake up wired because we've still got all this crazy stuff going on for these EMFs. So you need to really think about your sleep habits and get a really good sleep hygiene system in place, whereby you're in bed by 9:30 and you're waking up, you know, when the sun comes up. So in Queensland, 5:30, wherever else you are, you know, it might be by 6:37. Welcome to those ladies that have just popped on. Hey Rita, hey Nicole, hey Annie, how are you? And then, you know, things like restoring your nutrients. Okay, so when I work with clients, I work at a level where we go back to basics. We're doing foundational stuff. We're looking at what's going on with your electrolytes, your sodium, potassium. We're looking at your calcium, magnesium. Okay, it's really important that your adrenals, your thyroid are getting those nutrients. Okay, because otherwise they won't be functioning properly. B vitamins are really important. So, you know, they're found in oats and leafy greens, nuts, seeds, organic meats, fairy, fish and dairy. I was trying to say fish and dairy together. You know, vitamin C, eat rainbow of fruit and veg every day. Blueberries are great, you know, green leafy veg. We need to go back to that sort of more of a, you know, plant-based diet, guys. Magnesium as well, but just be careful with magnesium, because I have a lot of clients that end up, they take magnesium, but they actually don't need it, and then it slows your adrenals down even further. So we can find that out using, you know, your HTMA, so by doing your hair tissue mineral analysis. But, you know, just eat proper food. Eat avocados, you know, eat dark chocolate, eat fruit and veggies. Stop eating stuff out of packets and processed foods, because it's just full of rubbish. And then obviously supplements, and that's just something I could talk about all day long, but in therapeutic doses, supplements are really good. What's happening these days, because you go into Chemist Warehouse and their shelves are full from floor to ceiling of stuff, like you're just like, holy doolies, what do I do here? Well, I wouldn't take any of it personally, but you need a good quality multivitamin, B vitamins, B5, B6. B6 gets chewed up when we're stressed. So, you know, under stress, we need B6, big time. We need vitamin C. We do need some magnesium, but it's got to be citronate or glycinate, okay? Because they're absorbed better than all the other forms. And a lot of the stuff on the shelves has a lot of excipients in it, so just be careful what you buy. And then herbal adaptogens are really important too. So things like rhodiola, ashwagandha, holy basil, and lemon balm. And you can get them in teas, like hot lemon balm you can buy in a tea. It's beautiful. Have that at night, really calming. So these are the types of things we need to implement, ladies. Alrighty. So in terms of, you know, when it comes to our, you know, when our hormones are changing as well, there's so much going on in the body, but stress has a direct impact on thyroid, adrenals, cortisol levels, all those things. So we need to work on that first, okay? And we need to address where that's coming from. And until you do that, your body will continue to put on weight and hold on to weight and will stay in survival mode until it feels balanced, okay, or is back in equilibrium. Alrighty. So guys, if you want some help, or you're looking for help with your perimenopausal, menopausal symptoms, or maybe you're past that now but you're still having problems with weight gain, then reach out, pop chat in the comments, and let's jump on a 15-minute call and have a chat and see where you're at, and see if what I do can help you get to where you want to go with your health and wellness. Hope this has been helpful. I'm going to be speaking tomorrow. I think Annie, I think you're coming tomorrow, aren't you, to the 𝐁𝐿. I'm talking at the 𝐁𝐿 tomorrow on stress. So it'd be lovely to see those of you that are coming. I'll see you there. Otherwise, I'm not going to be live next Monday because I'm going to be camping. I just thought that's just going to be crazy, too hard, noisy, and yeah, so I'm going to have a week off, and I'll see you the week after when schools go back. But in the meantime, you know where I am. If you need any help, please reach out. Don't do what I did and stick your head in the sand and hope things will just go away, because they don't. Let's get you feeling vital and energized again, and I hope you have an amazing week. Look after yourselves, ladies. Take care. See you later.